Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. The thing that makes this card different from anything I've shown you before is this here. Now this is our white glimmer paper, and I have, I'm not sure whether to say I've painted it or coloured it or sponged it, I suppose. But I want to show you how I did that. So to start off with, you're going to need, I've already layered my first pieces, but you're going to need a card base of Pool Party, which measures 8 1/4 by 5 3/4, scored down at 4 1/8 inch and folded. And then a layer of Whisper White, which measures 4 inches by 5 5/8. And the DSP, which comes from our Cherry on Top Designer Series paper stack, and that measures 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches. You're also going to need some of our white, I call it white glimmer paper, it's really Dazzling Diamonds Glimmer paper. You're also going to need some of our Vellum cardstock, a piece of Pool Party for the trim on the sentiment, and a piece of Whisper White for the sentiment. Right, so to start off with, I'm going to do the pieces that required the big shot. I should have thought about that and left that bit clear to start with, but never mind. Right, so let's clear that properly. So what I need to use my big shot for, first of all, on the card underneath the butterfly, I've used one of our foil doilies. That comes in little packets with gold and silver doilies, and they come in 2 sizes, the larger one and the small one, so I'm using one of the bigger ones. And because the design on this DSP, it has little dots, as you can see they're getting heavier down here but lighter towards the top. I've actually turned it around from the way I did it on that one. That's got the heavy dots at the top, or thicker dots rather, and lighter at the bottom. And in the new catalogue we've actually got an embossing folder with that sort of effect on it, and I embossed my silver doily with it. Let me show you the embossing folder. You see how it's got all the dots up at the top here, the thick dots, and comes down very thin? Well, that's very much like the design on here, and I thought, well, I'm going to emboss my foil doily using that. I had thought that I'm not going to use any of the things out of the new catalogue because it's not going to be launched until the 1st of September. I wasn't planning to use any of the bits, but I'm making 2 exceptions on this video. Okay, so that's one exception. I'll show you the other one in a moment. It's all to do with the big shot. So that's one. No, I need this, don't I? So let's just move my chair a bit. Okay, so I've got that. I've got my doily. I've got my embossing folder. Bumps on the bottom. Alright, so just pop that in there, close that, and get my other cutting mat, which is here. Right, okay. Okay, so I've got my doily in there, and I've done it so that I've got some of the thicker dots here and the thinner ones there. So I'm just going to pop that through, and this is one of the larger embossing folders, the 6x6, which means that when you put it through your big shot you should put the fold of the folder in first. I know that that's what we're meant to do. Unfortunately, I never did find out the reason for it. But if that's what I need to do to take care of my things, that's fine, I'll do it. Okay, so that's that embossed. Then the next thing I need to do is, I've already die cut 2 of my butterflies for the top layer. I didn't do all 3 because I wanted to show you the new, this is something else that's coming in the new catalogue. It's a precision base plate, and it has been designed to help us when we are die cutting our very, very intricate dies. Let's see, I'm going to do this butterfly, which is in the Butterfly Thinlits, and because there is so much in there, this plate makes it a lot easier. I have been using it today. If you saw my video where I introduced the all my goodies that I got on pre-order, I said that I didn't know quite how this would be and I would give some feedback. Well, I've been using it and I love it. What I found with my machine is I need 2 sheets of a shim to go down there. So what you need is, you need your general platform, multi-purpose platform. Stampin' Up are recommending that you don't use the magnetic plate. The main reason being is that if you put this, because this is metal as well, put that onto your magnetic plate, it grips so tight, it's very easy to catch your fingers in it. And I think there was also a question about whether it would affect your cutting plates as well, but I didn't really catch up on that bit. But I will do in time for the new catalogue coming out. So that's on there. There is no, I haven't put my usual bit of wax paper down. Okay, so I'm going straight onto the board. The other thing is, they recommend that you don't keep the die in the same place. For example, if you were cutting out say 12 of these, don't keep putting it down in the same place all the time, just move it around, as you can see I've been doing. Okay, so that's straight down onto my vellum. Obviously not the magnetic bit, but that's fine. There's no cutting plate underneath, just one cutting plate on top. Right, now what I do, what I found works with me, it's a bit stiff because I've put the extra paper shim in there. I do 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I find that works beautifully. So I'm going to rest that up on there so you can see me pop this. Okay, so that comes off really nice and easily. I'm going to use my paper piercer, and all I'm going to do is just pop all these pieces, all the cutouts. I'm not doing any of the holes that are the holes that have been put there just to help us actually move the butterfly, like those in the centre there. Okay, so that's all pushed out. Okay, you can see, let me turn that sideways. So you can see how they're all sticking out there. You just brush them down. And a couple that I missed. But as you can see, they are coming out just absolutely brilliantly. That one. Is that all? A couple there. But you just put your paper piercer through and they just really come off. There's absolutely no fighting with that at all. And then just put the paper piercer through to actually release the butterfly. And here we have it. Okay, so ready to go again. That's cut out beautifully. So I wanted to show you that. Let me just get rid of this bit of rubbish. And the only other thing I need to do with my Big Shot is the plain butterfly. Oh, there it is. I don't need that for the plain one. And this is what I'm going to use just to cut out the butterfly that I'm going to be colouring. Okay, so that's one cutting mat down, my butterfly, and my second cutting mat, and then off we go. Okay, so that's that one done as well. So I think that's everything that I need, isn't it, for the Big Shot. Done that one, done that. Yep, that's fine. So I can move this out of the way now. Okay, that can go on the floor now, I think. Right, so I'm going to do this first. This is the bit that I really had the fun with today. I'm going to take a scrap of paper. Let's bring my proper card back in. This is rubbish. Clear that out. Now I'm using 3 colours. Make sure I stay in picture here. The colours are... You stayed there. I really need a bigger screen, don't I? Right. This is Wisteria Wonder. And then I'm having Bermuda Bay. And then I'm having Elegant Eggplant. Okay, and I've got really old sponges here, which I use time and time again, and I wash them once I've finished with them. They just seem to go on forever. And I am using my thinner aqua pen. I think we call them aqua pens. I'm not using that to actually do the painting. It's just that I'm using that to squirt a bit of water in. So what I do is I start off with doing the, what did I do first? The outside. Did the outside. So that's Elegant Eggplant. And what I did was I took the re-inker and I did 2 or 3 drops in, you can't see that, just a minute, let me bring you forward a bit. That's Wisteria Wonder, that's Bermuda Bay, and that's Elegant Eggplant. Okay, that's better. Right, so that was you. That was you. Now what did I do? Oh, there it is. Right, Elegant Eggplant. So, start again. I put 2 or 3 drops of the re-inker into the lid. In fact, I did bring a tissue with me somewhere, didn't I? Oh, there it is, yeah. Because I just thought I'd mop these up if I continually keep doing this without cleaning up after me. It's going to make a real mess. So on to that, I've got some water in my pen, and I'm just going to add 2 or 3 drops of water. That's it. I wanted to use my pen, my aqua pen for this, because it's so easy to just control the amount I'm doing. Right, okay, so I take my sponge, and because it's a cube like this, it's only a makeup sponge, this one. Normally I use Stampin' Up sponges, but I find this is good enough for this job. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just pick up some ink. Just test it. Yep, okay. And I'm just going to stamp. This is messy, I have to say. You could get yourself something on there to hold it with, but I'm quite happy to do messy sometimes. And all I did was I bounced my sponge around the edge. See that? When I was playing with this earlier today, I tried all sorts of things. I used the, I put my ink in like that, and I used the aqua pen to do this. Whatever I tried always came out too heavy for me. But this was the way that I thought, oh yes, I'm happy with that, because I don't want it really dark and really heavy. So I think that's just coming out just about right. So all I'm doing is just stamping it on. Stamping with a difference, I suppose, isn't it? Stamping with the sponge. Now the only thought I keep in my mind is that butterflies are asymmetrical, which means the colours on this side are mirrored onto this side. I aim for that, but I don't get too uptight about if I don't manage it. Now the next one I'm going to do is the Watercolour Wonder, and again I'm going to take 2 or 3 drops and my pen, and I'm just going to drop 2 or 3 drops of water in there. That's it. And now I'm going to do the same, but I'm going to do the centerpiece now, because I've got the Bermuda Bay, which I want to do in between the 2 purples. Okay, so that's a lot lighter than the other purple. Alright, and then I'll do the Bermuda Bay. And some water. At the end I'll show you the bits and pieces that I was playing with today. Not very happy with, well, there's 2 of them that I like, which I probably use, but I've got a plan for the other one. In fact, I might do it with you, show you what I'm going to do, and you can see with me whether it works or not. Right, okay, now Bermuda Bay. Now this is going to go in between the 2 purples. See? That one's quite definite, isn't it? They do come up a bit lighter as they dry. In fact, I think I'd like the Watercolour Wonder to be a bit darker. In fact, I wonder if I go with the Elegant Eggplant without putting any more on, if I can. Oh yes, that's it. That's lovely. I like that. Okay, so that's it. That's all I'm going to do. Apart from the final step, of course. And the final step is I took the Elegant Eggplant and I just did all the edges . I wasn't able to get right in to do the head and the tail, but most of this is going under the vellum butterflies anyway. One of the things I don't recommend you trying to do is to actually put your sponge onto your ink pad. I mean, you can do, but if you're dealing with glitter like this, you will find that you get glitter onto your ink pad. There we go, so I've got some dark edging around there. I'll show you that. Don't you think that's pretty? And so easy too. Messy, I know. But when you're enjoying yourself, it doesn't really matter, does it? Okay, so that will go for washing. That will go for washing, and so will that. We're not going to need any more ink. With the ink that you see that I've just closed in there, that will just go back onto the ink pad. I think that came off my sponge, didn't it? So that, in fact, I'll tell you what I'll do with that one. I'm not worried about the ink, but it's got a bit fluffy there. Not sure. It might have just been bits off of the sponge, I think. Okay, so that's that one. And that one. Oh yes, look. Right, so that can go in the bin. So to put my card together, first of all I need one of my doilies. These are our ordinary little tea doilies. And I'm going to use glue dots for these. And sometimes I find that on these doilies they get little straight bits there. Can you see that underneath my finger? It's got a straight edge there. Yes, and here as well. Can you see that? That's it, yeah. I just cut around that just to make it curved. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just something so it's not quite as obvious as a straight line there. That's fine. So I'm going to adhere this onto here using my snail, which is just here. And what I do is I just put a little bit of snail onto these complete flowers. And then on here. Okay, so that's okay. And now, because I've got the thick dots here, I want the thick dots here to come at the bottom, so it mirrors what's happening on the DSP. Just put a tiny little bit at the edges. Oops, go on. That's it. Okay, so I just pop that into the centre. There we go. Okay, so that looks nice. That's shining, isn't it? Let me move that one out of the way. Okay, let's do the putting our butterflies together. I always fold my wings up so that I finish up with a straight line at the bottom there, so that I've got a nice area to put my glue on. And the best way to put these wings onto, in fact the best way to put anything onto glimmer paper in my mind is to use glue dots. Those two I've already folded. And when you are if you try this card, I really recommend that you actually put your glue dots onto the vellum butterfly. Earlier on I tried putting them straight onto the vellum, and oh my goodness, what a fight I had. And I'm sorry to say that it was the glue dots that won. I finished up throwing them away and starting again, but it was just so much easier once I decided to put them straight onto the butterfly, the vellum rather. There we go. That's it, lovely. And then the other two I use Tombow. Okay, so there's that bit done. Let's do the sentiment next. Now the happy birthday that I've used here, I really like that font. In fact, whenever I say I like that font, chances are it's always what I would call a neat, tidy one. I don't normally like the squiggly, random, untidy ones. This sentiment comes from Boys Will Be Boys, and it's this here, Happy Birthday. It's also nice because it's got Best Kid Ever there. It's a lovely stamp set, that. I keep meaning to show you a Get Well card that I made. It was a screen card, and I will do that one day. Right, I'm using Lost Lagoon ink because I think that the right, don't talk too much. Let's finish this. I prefer the Lost Lagoon on this because I think it's darker. The Pool Party, which is this, is too light on here, so I use this one. But with the Happy Birthday on here, you see it's got the exclamation mark. I left that on first time, but I found that when I wanted to use my washi tape punch, it looked really crowded. You know, the H was touching this end and the exclamation mark was touching that end. So what I did was I used some tape first of all, and I covered up the exclamation mark. But I found, because that was so close, it didn't work very well. So what I finished up doing was I inked it and I removed that bit. Now, as you can see, that I've got some ink on the top of the exclamation mark. So what I did to remove that was I got one of our blender pens, made sure it was clean, and then I just removed that off. I can see it's down the side there as well. So that's another use for these blender pens. They are brilliant. Right, that's it. Now, I doubt if it needs that because the ink's really moist on that pad. So just let's stamp that down. Beautiful. Really lovely. So to punch that out, let's pop that away first. To punch that out, I'm using the washi tape punch. That's that one. and that fits in beautifully. Leaves a nice gap either end. Let's have a proper look, make sure that it's straight. And then I just took a scrap and just cut one little bit like that, one little bit like that, layered the two together, and I did that by putting a little bit of snail on either end. If when you do this you find that you can see, if you haven't got it on very straight like me, I can still see that there, you just trim the edges up. And what I mean is, that one I can see, so I'm just going to take my scissors in there. Okay, so it's just like mitering it really. In fact, I can see that one slightly as well. Right, now I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. In fact, I haven't done my butterfly yet, have I? Let's do the butterfly first. What did I do? I think, yes, I used glue dots for that as well. One of my videos recently, I made the comment that I don't get on very well with glue dots and I don't really like them, don't use them much. But ever since I've said that, I seem to be using them all the time. Okay, so that's that. I'll pop my butterfly on. And my sentiment, I'm going to use dimensionals. Tweezers. That looks straight. And then finally, the last thing I need to do is to put the diamonds, rhinestones rather, and I needed 9 on there. So let's have a look. 3, 6, 9. I do normally prefer to use pearls. But because I've used the silver at the back there, I just think that the rhinestones are more suitable. Okay, so there we go. There's my card. Very, very easy to do, but the effect is really quite stunning. That's just beautiful, isn't it? I think that's beautiful. Lovely. I got the idea for doing this last night when I was doing my Christmas tree card, which was part of this week's challenge. If I can see it, yes I can see it here, I will show you. Underneath here I've got another circle, same size circle, and I just inked all the edges. Once I'd done that, and I started thinking about doing the butterflies, and that's why I started playing today, and I had great fun with it, and I hope you like it, and I hope you give it a try. Many thanks for watching my video. If you have any questions, please contact me because I'm always happy to help. If you've enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on this subscribe button at the top right hand side of the screen, or it might be underneath the screen depending on what you're watching this video on. If you'd like to buy any of the products that you've seen me showcase here today, please click on the link that's on the bottom of the screen. That'll take you straight to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio!